This is just a little excerpt from a book called The Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East. And this is happening on a Christmas morning that this man, who is a master from the Far East, that Baird Spalding went to meet men just such as him to see if it were true, all of these rumors they had heard coming from the Far East about the masters who could do all these wonderful things, who could create out of the thin air any needed item, and who could travel in the etheric, which would mean they didn't have to walk, or they could just think where they wanted to be. And how wonderful that would be if we could do that now. But maybe we will be able to do that. And I want to read this to you because this is really good. It tells a lot about what Christ means. Like, this is just me right now, but I think anyone can be Christed like Jesus was. It means to be anointed of love. It's not one particular person, the Christ. It is an anointing, and it's an anointing of love. So if my name is Grace, I can be Grace Christ if I'm anointed of love. So I can call myself that if I want to, I guess. And so can you. But this person from India had a complete different picture of Jesus than is held by Christians of today. And you will notice that as I read these words that he gave to the little party of researchers that went over there right before they were beginning an expedition. And it was almost Christmas Day. So he is talking here about what they think of Christmas and what we think of Christmas. He began by saying, "This Christmas morning, to you, I suppose it is the day Jesus of Nazareth, the Christ, was born. To you the thought must come that he was sent to remit sins. To you he must typify the Great Mediator between you and your God. You seem to appeal to Jesus as a mediator between you and your God, who seems to be a stern and at times an angry God, sitting off somewhere in the place called heaven, located where I do not know, except it be in man's consciousness. You seem to be able to reach God only through his less austere and more loving Son, the great and noble one, whom we all call blessed, and whose advent into the world this day commemorates. To us this world," wait a minute, lost my place. "To us this day means more. To us this day not only means the advent into this world of Jesus the Christ, but also the birth typifies, the birth of Christ in every human consciousness. The Christmas day means the birth of the great Master and Teacher, the Great Liberator of mankind from material bondage and limitation. To us this great soul came on earth to show more fully the way to the real God, the great, omnipotent, omnipresent, omnificent One, to show that God is all goodness, all wisdom, all truth, all in all. This great Master, who came to this world this day, was sent to show more fully that God not only dwells without us, but within us, that he never is nor can be separated from us or any of his creations, that he is always a just and loving God, that he is in all things, knows all and is all truth. Had I the understanding of all men, it is beyond my power to express to you, even in a humble way, what this holy birth means to us. We are fully convinced, and we hope you also will see, that this great Master and Teacher came to us that we might have a fuller understanding of life here on earth, that all mortal limitations are but man-made, and in no way should they be interpreted, and in no other way should they be interpreted. We know that this greatest of all teachers came to show more fully that the Christ in him, and through whom he did his mighty works, is the same Christ that lives in you, in me, and in all mankind, that we can, by applying his teachings, do all the works that he did, and greater works. We believe that Jesus came to show more fully that God is the one great and only cause of all things, that God is all. You may have heard it said that we believe Jesus received his early training among us. Perhaps some of us do believe. Let that be as it is. Does it matter whether his training came from among us or as a direct revelation from God, the one source where all things really exist? For when an idea comes from God's mind, has been contacted by one man, and sent out through the spoken word, cannot one or all again contact that thought in the universal? Because one has contacted the idea and sent it out, it does not follow that it is his particular possession. If he did appropriate it and hold it, where would be room for receiving? To receive more, we must give out what we have received. If we withhold what we receive, stagnation will follow, and we will be like the wheel that generates power from the water and suddenly, of its own volition, begins to withhold the water which it is using. It will soon find itself stifled with inert water. It is only when the water is allowed to flow freely through it that it is of value to the wheel to create power. Just so with man. When he contacts God's ideas, he must give them out in order to receive the benefit from them. He must allow all to do the same thing, that they may grow and develop as he is growing. I am of the opinion that what Jesus taught came to him as a direct revelation from God, as it no doubt has come to all great teachers. Are not all things of God, and whatever one human being can do, cannot all do? We believe you will be convinced that God is ever willing and ready to reveal himself to all men as he has revealed himself to Jesus and others. The only requisite necessary is for each one to be willing to let God come forth. We believe with all sincerity that all are created equal, that all men are one man, that the mighty works done by Jesus can and will be done by all. You will see there is nothing mysterious about these works. The mystery is only in man's mortal concept of them. We fully realize you have come to us with minds more or less skeptical. We trust you will live with us and know us as we really are. Our work and the results accomplished, we leave you to accept or reject as you will. Now this is a tiny portion of a book which I read the entire book. Book 1, The Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East, and I read 5 of those books, but I will put the playlist for the reading of that book, Book 1, in the bar that you have, description bar, that you can click on it there and go right into the playlist and listen to the entire book read, because it is a very good book. What I like about it is I think we're about to enter into a time where we awaken in ourselves a power that we've always had, but it's been impotent. But it's about to become activated. And we'll be doing some of the things the masters did, such as Jesus. And we'll be able to throw off the bondage of limitation and lack and all the things that right now are gripping so many people. Right now in our world, there's so much hatred for the rich and the movers of the world's economy that seem to be very greedy. And what I would suggest to people, you can't love what they do, but love them, because love is the only answer. I know it's easy to hate people who do things that hurt a lot of people, but it is so necessary. And if you think about it, they're the pushers that we need, because when we have it too easy, we don't desire to be free of our limitations. So we don't have it so easy now, and we've got to step over into this kind of power that we have within us. But I do think there are those who know that as long as they can keep us entertained with a lot of drama and a lot of hatred and anger, that they can keep us from stepping over into the power that is within ourselves. Maybe they don't exactly know that's what they're doing, but it is doing that. Because when we can learn to love the enemy, as Jesus told us to do, love the enemy and resist not evil, then we can step over into our power. And when I say resist not evil, I'm not saying to the protesters out there, the Occupy Wall Street protesters, that they shouldn't protest. As long as they do it in a peaceful way, they're doing the right thing. I would just suggest, though, that some of their chants be loving words to those who come against them, like the police. You know, that they say, we love you, don't do this to us, please, we love you. Or something like to that effect, instead of calling them names. That only just makes it bad for themselves and everybody else. And that's not coming from a place of power. When you come from your anger, or you come from your fear, you're not coming from a powerful place, and you won't be given power to use by God. You won't be given that power that you need, you really need. Because in order to be where God is, you have to have love even for your enemy. Even for them if they were nailing your hands to a cross, even to love them to that extent. And that's what I ask for the Wall Street protesters to please try to do with all their heart and all their soul. Try to love the enemy. And go on and do the things they're doing that show that they're bringing to the forefront some of the things we need to look at, because there is great disparity between the rich and the poor. And that is not good. That is not balance. I read another book. I'll put a playlist. I think I will put a playlist for it also on here. It's called The Secret of Light. And in that book, there's much said about God's one law. But when I say God, no, I'm not talking about the God of the Bible. The God of the Bible is angry, and he is a God that is judgmental, harsh, always showing that he has kind of an ego problem in wanting to be worshipped and demanding, but yet he's all powerful but can't get the worship. It doesn't make sense. And he commands his people to do some pretty terrible things all through the Old Testament. I won't even mention them here, but that is not the God I'm talking about, because that is not God at all. And I wish people to fully realize that is not God. But if they want to know the true God, well, God is like consciousness, and it is explained rather well in The Secret of Light and in the Divine Iliads 1 and 2, written by Walter Russell. And God has one law that's being broken really bad right now. And it can cause disastrous results if it's not corrected. And it's balance. It's rhythmic, balanced interchange. But we don't have that. And something cannot continue unless there's balanced interchange. That's how you have perpetual motion. That's how things continue. So that is a good book to read. I read a lot of books on my channel. You might want to check them out. And I will talk at you later, and be sure to look into the description bar and click right onto both of those books if you would like to hear me read them. Also, those books I also have in my Google Files, and if I know your email, I can send you the book. And you read it online out of my Google File document. So let me hear from you if you would like to have that. And feel free to leave your comments. I love comments, and I will always answer a comment. I thank you. This is the Dove Lady, over and out.